Greetings, my name is Dave Householder, and I'm blessed to bring you as a tour guide through Ephesians chapter 1. And it's so fitting that we're looking at these magnificent rocks in Sandstone Canyon that have been around for ages, because Paul talks about how God planned since the beginning of time to bring each of us into existence. And this just gave him great pleasure, gives God great pleasure. He chose us, at verse 4, to be his very own, joining us to himself even before he laid the foundation of the universe. And he talks about here how since we're joined to Christ, we have been given access to what he calls superabundant grace, which is powerfully working in us, releasing within us all forms of wisdom and practical understanding. This is just great stuff. Paul is just sort of waxing eloquent here about the plan of God through all creation. We're not here by accident. We're here a part of the plan. The unfolding of this plan gives God great joy and pleasure. And it says here in verse 10, and because of God's unfailing purpose, this detailed plan will reign supreme through every period of time until the fulfillment of all the ages finally reaches its climax when God makes all things new in all of heaven and earth through Jesus Christ. And a lot of people don't understand that the end times, although we struggle between now and the very end, are not bad things where everything fails and we get to sort of go out on the lifeboats like from the Titanic and the sinking ship. No, the whole world is going to be transformed into something beautiful. No matter what your end times view is, we end up on a renewed earth looking up at a renewed heaven. And that's at the end of Isaiah, it's the end of Revelation, and it's very clear in the Bible that God will accomplish his purpose. It says here in verse 11 that we would fulfill the plan of God who always accomplishes every purpose and plan in his heart. That's why it's so important not to be worried during times like this, as if God isn't going to be able to take care of things, that somehow things just might fall apart if we vote the wrong way or if things just take a wrong detour. And the truth is, no matter how bad things are, God's plan will be carried out. And he writes some just beautiful stuff in here. Verse 18, Paul writes, I pray that the light of God will illuminate the eyes of your imagination, flooding you with light, until you experience the full revelation of the hope of his calling. That is the wealth of God's glorious inheritance that he finds in us, his holy ones. I pray that you will continually experience the immeasurable greatness of God's power made available to you through faith. Then your lives will be an advertisement of this immense power as it works through you. And here's the kicker. This is the mighty power that was released when God raised Christ from the dead and exalted him to the place of highest honor and supreme authority in the heavenly realm. The resurrection of Jesus, Easter, was not somehow an illustration of the fact that there's life after death. No, that it's the transformation of death into life. Jesus walked out of the grave. He didn't go off to be in a spiritual realm somewhere. He walked and talked with people in a physical body. He ate fish. He was transformed and glorified. And the good news of the resurrection is not that there's an afterlife. Every religion believes in some kind of afterlife. The good news is that what is broken will be fixed, and everything that's broken in your life, your relationships, your physical challenges, your financial red ink, all of those things will be transformed, and there will come a time when nothing will be missing and nothing will be broken. And that's a beautiful promise here from God, that the resurrection itself is like a down payment. Paul says it's like an engagement ring, showing us that this promise will be fulfilled. So think about that. A couple of things. Pray that the light of God will illuminate the eyes of your imagination. Close your eyes and pray today and ask God continually for more light in your spirit, in your soul, and watch that start to happen. Expect to experience that. Expect to be flooded with light when you ask for light. It's like the aperture of a camera opening. Open the aperture of your spirit and receive that light. And then meditate and pray on the resurrection of Jesus. And ask yourself, what is broken in this world? What is broken in my life that can be fixed? How can I lean into that healing? How can I trust that in the end I will experience, not just see, but experience the culmination, the restoration of all things? As Paul writes here in chapter 1, when God makes all things new in all of heaven and earth through Jesus Christ. And that's in verse 10. So, as we look at these pictures of this beautiful creation that God gives us, we're reminded of the foundations of time. These rocks were here long before we were here. And God's plan was here long before we were here. And you are a part, and I am a part of God's plan. We are here for a purpose. And we will take part with God in the restoration of all things. In Hebrew, tikkun, Olam, which means the healing of all creation. That's what we've been called to. That's what we're a part of. Enjoy this beautiful picture of my wife Wendy and I as we drive up Sandstone Canyon, and we just revel in the beautiful creative power of God.